Hi everyone. If you're landing on this video and it's dark, it's because the camera technically is turned around. I'm sitting here in the dark, so it's kind of pointless not having it on. But I'll wait for people to connect. Now, I have tuned in today. I'm currently in Perth, WA, and the energy energetically is spiking. Now, I went about my day and I started tuning in, and I do feel vibrationally with Venus moving into shadow, which was the 13th. If you if you're jumping on the video and the camera's not on, I will turn it around shortly. But at the moment, it's kind of turned off because I'm in the dark anyway. So I'm noticing the Schumann resonance is spiking. Now it is going up and down quite erratically. So if you are getting to the point, hi Michelle, that you're feeling triggered, feeling agitated, feeling panicked, it is very normal. I also do feel the dates I mentioned in the community tab was actually one of the dates was the 11th. And that is for weather changes, hots and colds and spikes. Hi, everyone. Yeah, no, the camera's not on, but the camera technically is. It's just turned around. So there's spikes in temperature. You're going to see changes in temperature around the 11th, 15th, 16th, the around the 24th, I'd say, the 24th, 25th, 26th, because it's around the time Pluto's going retrograde. And then as we move into May, I'm seeing the 4th. Now, there is an aspect this month that's being made. We've got Venus in shadow, but there is a lot of heart chakra activation. So with the Schumann resonance, it's doing very sharp bursts up and down very quickly. So although it's not a huge spike, you are going to notice heart palpitations, panic attacks, agitation. There's also this energy almost like, yeah, no visual either. I've got the camera off. So you're going to sense to a degree a vibration where something's about to happen. You don't quite know what, but there is that vibration there. How has everyone's ascension been going? Are we enjoying it? But yeah, do get prepared, especially moving into the 14th. I do know that we moved into 28 for the Schumann resonance at some point during the week. I believe it was on the 11th. It did reach, I think, around 70, but it's dropping and it's jumping, and that's what's causing the agitation. No, there's no visual. I've turned it off. I'm in the dark anyway. Yeah. It's really unique. It's almost like there is a shift coming. So it's up and it's down. It's up and it's down. And you just need to keep us grounded. Try the breathing exercises. Keep your fluid intake up. Pace yourself. If you're really getting a lot done at home and you're getting tucked in, I'm also noticing a lot of shift. I'm also noticing I do feel a lot of twins will be moving home. Also, when it does come to signing contracts and things to that degree, very similar to Mercury retrograde, there's also this theme going on where we're meant to be right now. So, the rest is going to be shown to you, but I'm really feeling by mid-month there can be a full 360. But I do feel also your ascension, the movement, and the things coming in, you're really going to need to. It went to 29 and then it dropped again, but it is jumping up and down. I do feel, moving into Pluto retrograde, I do feel it continue to jump and drop. I'm sensing, how do I put it? I'm sensing a shift vibrationally. Now, I do know for feminines, there is a lot of heart chakra activation. There's a lot of healing going on. Also, when I am tuning into the masculines, there's also a blank mind. I do feel this is because they're very confused. They're also feeling that they can't achieve certain things and they haven't got all the pieces of the puzzle yet. I do feel they know what they want to do, but they're trying to find a solution. And it does make sense because with Venus going retrograde, it's almost like an assessment of all those things. So it's really not the time to jump into anything new. And look, even if you were to have a spiritual connection come back, you do need to really practice discernment. You know, be adult about it. Choose to do what you choose to do, but at the same time, be in alignment when you're making choices. I am seeing a lot of people from the past coming back. I'm also seeing conflict. And when I'm saying conflict, I feel more conflict of interest and manipulation. Can't feel the DMA. Yeah, it's mentally speaking, it's their mind at the moment. They're very, I'm sensing blank face. I'm sensing almost dumbfounded by some scenario that's played out and really finding no solution. So at the moment, they're very, very confused, and it's almost like the mind's turned off. It's just too baffling. It's too boggling for them what's going on. I don't feel this is connected to what's going on in the collective. I feel this is potentially linking in with their path and where they're wanting to go. Yeah, it turns on and off. It'll all link into where you are in the journey. It's very natural, Michelle, to be disconnected. Because it's moving into non-codependent energy, which is healthy. So yeah, don't be upset by that. It's very, very normal. It's actually healthy. I think right now all the separation energy is, especially with the energy we're moving into with the new moon in Taurus, it's the reassessment of what our value systems are. And I really do feel with this Venus retrograde, which I will be talking about tomorrow, and I also do have an event that's occurring on Facebook. So if you haven't looked at that, go have a look, or you can get the information on the website. But I will be doing updates tomorrow and the next day. So I'll stagger the reads. And I will be doing them live. So I'll come to you in the morning. So for America, that will be your evening, early evening. And I will be doing each zodiac sign for that. And that will be basically the house, what's coming up for it, and any advice I feel directly needed per zodiac sign. But it's going to be short and sweet because I still need to do the zodiac signs for the retrograde, and I've still got to do the astrology blog. Hi, everyone. So how have we been handling the energy? Try not to take the energy at the moment personal, but you're really going to have to manage your ascension symptoms because they are spiking. There can be some things that are coming out of left field as well that can really trigger you. So you really got to keep grounded in that energy. And some of this energy is going to come out of nowhere. So you may not sense TF, and then all of a sudden you feel the vibration, and it can feel very, very triggered up and down. But it's really spiking and dropping, very similar to the Schumann resonance. Hi, Justine. How are you, sweet? You going to do sticky notes? Ooh. So are there any questions in the house? While I'm here, I just finished doing all the bookings and I have updated the website. Yeah, it's very challenging energy at the moment. I mean, I'm in union and I found the energy come over like a ton of bricks. And it was really unique. It was like, wow, I haven't had this for a while. And it really did. So for many of you, I tend to feel the energy ahead of time. So just be really mindful. I mean, I'm already the day ahead of you. So you guys are probably going to feel this by your time. If tomorrow morning for me is evening, yeah, it'll be your evening again. So by tomorrow night, it's going to spike. Yeah, very heavy though, so do be prepared for it. And try not to exhaust yourself. So if you get into a purgatory experience and you're cleaning, which is what I did today, not from a negative point of view, it was just organisation and trying to tie up loose ends. If you do get to the point you get exhausted, you will find that the vibration, because you're fatigued, it's almost like your auric field's reduced and you will be more susceptible. Yeah, there's a lot of ringing in the ears, and the alcohol as well does make us quite vulnerable. That actually was asked to me, which yes, now and then I do. I don't promote it, but you do need to um, discern between when to and when not to, and know your limit. You know what I mean? Be healthy with it. I'm still here. It's a hard path, and I mean, it's funny because when you do the research into the astrology, this Venus retrograde, it generally takes about 8 years for it to reach back to this very point where it's in. Also, because the nodes are moving into Gemini, this is a massive opportunity for communication. So, not only have we had the new moon in Aries, we then moved into the super full moon in Libra, which again is yin yang energy. We're then moving into the new moon in Taurus. So, when you look at those themes, number one, Aries is in Chiron. There's been a lot of Aries energy, which again is our wounds, our ego, our mindset, our movement, the way in which we communicate. Are we sharp with our tongue, or can we directly communicate in a healthy fashion? It's healthy to be aware of your wounds. But at the same time, having the fact that the nodes are going to move into Gemini, which is all about the theme of turning over that new leaf, with the vibration of communication and everything to that degree, and Venus is going to be in Gemini, all of us very much are going to need to look at the way we communicate about love, what our value systems are after Venus retrograde. And it is for about 6 weeks. So, the things you valued at one time may not be what you value as you move through that frequency. And it's a revisit to those energies. But some of these dates, because it does take 8 years for it to transit back to that same location, we're looking at 2002, I believe, and 2012. So I'll touch base with that more so tomorrow as I move through each zodiac sign. But very much the ones I'm doing on Facebook are very personalised readings in that area. So we'll talk about the do's, the don'ts. Yeah, look, bones and things to that degree is all connected in with Saturn. It's teeth, bones. Aquarius is almost like your nervous system. So, you need to be again, I'm not a doctor, but this is more from an astrological kind of spiritual chakra system orientation. But yes, aches in your joints, lower back. Hi, Jenny. Yeah, they are very odd at the moment. It's definitely still, and the mind is very blank. Oh, it's not bad either because look, with these energies, it's where the person's energy, because especially first house placement, in the zodiac wheel, they're looking at it from their own perspective. Again, it's the crown chakra dull, so it's just drink your fluid, do breathing, especially with all the Mercury energy. It's like, it's almost like the dizziness, the fatigue energy, and the downloads. It's, you're needing to really kind of upgrade your energy. And I do feel, even me, I've had dizziness, I've had ringing in the ears, neck aches, more from, doing too much and your bones sort of hurt, and then it comes good again. And yeah, the dizziness, definitely. So with the Ascension, it's almost pace yourself, don't wreck yourself to the point you're doing too much. If your body needs to recoup, and then do what you need to do later. Yeah, well, it's almost like a double purge to the ego, really, because when you look at it, what we do have control over is ourselves. And not micromanaging it, accepting things, coming to terms with things, finding the peace, and especially for many that have been on the journey for a long time in an awakened process, it does get to the point it doesn't become about the other person as much, only from a spiritual point of view that you're dealing with so many ascension symptoms that you just don't want to go crazy. So, sometimes we can take actual offense to that, but it's more from the perspective that your ascension symptoms become so heavy that you're needing to do anything you can, with the purging, the inner work, breaking the patterns, wanting to break the cycle so you get a different kind of story. All of the work you do is for that direct reason. So, hi, Falstar, how are you? Yes, the screen's off. It's only because I'm sitting in the dark. I've just rotated the screen around because it's pointless seeing my nose kind of flashing on the screen. Yeah, and I have actually, some of you on the journey, it really depends on where you are. Many have gone through very, very heavy ascension symptoms. It's more first and second waivers, but don't feel you guys are that far behind. Especially from the perspective of what I've seen over the last 4 years. And I did mention this, I think it was 2017, that a lot of people would be waking up and that it would actually take something quite major. And a lot of people were like, that's not possible. Look where we are now. It's like this really, it's almost like many on the collective are doing a polar flip in a sense that, much of TFs was to do with the fact that it was spiritual journey, looking at the connection, and then it was the purging and the astrology. This is a forced purge. So it's forced confinement to look at the wounds. And when we do tend to keep busy, we don't notice these things. So when it's forced upon us, all the old energies come to the forefront. It's because we stop. Well, if you're not needing to get anything done, don't stress. If you are and you feel directly divinely guided, we're going to have Pluto going retrograde. So anywhere we need to correct things, it's going to really show us. Oh, hi, doll. Yeah, I love Carmen. I miss her. I'm glad you've been enjoying them. Um, Let me think about that. I think there's change in career for him. But I do feel something to do with the building, something to do with the property, and some ideas that he had, but now changing. I don't feel he wants to live there either. Yeah, well, remember we're in the shadow of Venus, so and we've got the energy of how do you put it? Because we had the new moon in Aries, even though it was last month, it's still there because we have Aries and Chiron. So we had that activation where we needed to turn over the new leaf. Then we moved into the energy of the super full moon in Libra. So some, in a sense, especially since for the feminine energies, Juno is in Libra, it's a big purge for the feminines. It's a big adjustment, and it's not just for the Libran and the Aries energy, because shadow energy of Libra is Aries. So again, Aries and Chiron, right? So at a collective level for the feminines, we are doing a lot of shadow work. We're doing a lot of looking at things, and is it going to be okay? Where do we go? Can we trust our intuition? How do we feel about a new start? Is it possible for a new start? How would that look? I don't need to go on. You get my gist. Moving into the new moon in Taurus is our value systems. It's what do we hold as valuable? What is valuable? And really, when you've gone into lockdown, a bit similar to your ascension symptoms and, purging and things to that degree, you get back to basics. You purge the ego. All you need is rest, fluid, and food. That's it. So it gets it down to bare basics. And you find the Uranian energy in Taurus, especially since it's going to be making squaring positions to Neptune. It's a and the Uranian energy is really shifting it where there can be a sudden surprise, a sudden revelation. Secrets are going to be revealed. If there has been an illicit affair or something to that degree and it's been hidden, it's going to come to the forefront. Be that it's on your part or somebody else's, secrets are going to be exposed. It's a very interesting time, but again, with all the Gemini energy, the key to all of this is communication. It's also listening in between the lines. Not all communication is through the throat chakra, body language. Listen, not just the direct communication with individuals. What's your body telling you? How are you feeling about a situation and why is that coming up for you? So it's about our relationship with ourselves as well and our value systems. Digging deep, that's for sure. Yeah, the event's going to be on Friday, and I will be hosting them regularly. I'm going to try and do them at least once a month. So there'll be subject matters. It can be, romance. It can be, but I will be hosting them monthly on Facebook. Yeah, Chiron and Pisces is interesting because it is the 12th house. So if anyone's ever betrayed you, it will come up for you, but it's about learning to let it go and don't let it navigate you, Del. Don't let it get to the point where your hidden mind, it's like you're alchemizing everything. Why do I feel KR he's at a distance? Was he living in a different location? I'm telling you, the twins' energy at the moment and the masculines, it's really interesting. Yeah, I'm sort of feeling like something to do with travel is coming up for him. It's really strange how that keeps coming up. I do feel something major actually happened in his connections around him. I don't feel at a romantic level. I feel at a wellness level. It's just like something energetically came up for them. And I don't know why I'm picking even overseas energy, but like a travel surrounding them. It might have been job related. It just feels there was travel involved. He feels more mature in energy. He does have something on his chest though. And when I say that, I mean like wants to talk about something. And how do I put it? He will explain to you what happened, but it has been very complicated. It hasn't been what you think. You crack me up. No, giggle. You wouldn't be that lucky. I'm seeing something again house related. For your twin, I feel home related. And I do feel making plans in relation to the future, but tying up assets. there is a finalisation of that process. And I do feel very much most of these processes that are coming to the forefront is so ironic that we're going to have the nodes shifting. It's also unique that we're going to have Venus in Gemini. The nodes are going to be in Gemini and Sagittarius. The masculine energy and their ascension is very much Jupiter energy, which is Sagittarius. So it's almost like we're going to learn a lot about ourselves within our career sectors, our hunter-gatherer mode, as well as the masculines are really researching different ways of being uniquely themselves, but it's a new version of themselves. So it's a lot of self-discovery. 100%. But yes, I don't know. I'm just seeing with him giggle, something to do with 2, 3 homes. And it's like reducing it down, but there is change. There's change happening with assets. That's what's being shown to me. Yes, I think they're going to surprise us. Are we ready? Ooh. Yeah, it doesn't seem it's going to be a problem. It just seems it's very, very practical. It's almost like, yeah, pretty much bang. It's like very practical and just rational. It's almost succumbing to the reality of a situation, and there is a solution. Yeah, it's very natural at the moment. Sometimes, like, do you have any spiritual connection in a sense of telepathically? Because look, there can be years and years in between, and there can be no communication, no contact, and then it can just transfer. So it doesn't have to be that it's, I had years in between. I had 7 years no contact. He surely can Google. Anyway, pre-warned at the moment. The energy is going to be very heavy for the next 3 days. Do be very cautious, especially keep an eye on the weather, because I'm seeing the 15th, the 16th, caution, and definitely around the time of Pluto retrograde, a few days either side, similar to an eclipse. Why did my TF go silent and suddenly and distant suddenly? There is a lot of meditation at the minute. So if you're talking about more most recent, what you'll find is, again, there is a lot of the closing out of, and it always happens first on an internal level. Then they look at the direct external, and then it comes to the direct process. So at the moment, Diane, I'm feeling it's tying up of loose ends. It's wanting to be very, very sure. Yeah, it tends to get to a point, Deb, where you won't feel their energy at all and you'll think they're not on the planet. And that's normal too, because it means you've purged the codependency. So it means you're moving into complete alignment. Oh, thanks, Star. I appreciate it. Yeah, and look, even though we have like the pandemic at the moment, the other thing we do need to be aware of is we're having 6 eclipses this year. That certain aspects with astrology can note shifts. I mean, we've already been looking at the weather. Obviously, with less planes in the sky, it's clearing up the atmosphere. But again, there is, with the Aries energy, you're going to have hot, hot days and then really cold. Also, with Neptunian energy, it can be volcanic activity, it can be earthquakes. that's not to scare you. It's more from a perspective of what can be shown in astrology as potentials. It's not going to say it's happening, but even with the oh, what do you call it? Got to think now. I've had a brain fart. Um, the core has actually been moving each year. Now they do say, and this is all hypothetical, so to speak, but during World War I, World War II, with bombs and things to that degree, that it may have jolted the core to move, and it has been moving towards Russia. So we also have the sun and minimum, so there's a high potential of solar flares, which again can affect weather patterns. You'll also notice with the ringing of years, with the Schumann resonance rising, it's also your sinuses are going to tell you when there's a weather pattern change. So very similar to, like I said, you're training yourself to be psychic, so your senses will pick up on these things. So if suddenly you get very sharp sinus out of nowhere, it's telling you there's a shift in temperature. It's highs to lows. It's almost like you're going to high altitude and your senses are tuning into it. So just pay attention to that. Allow your body to actually tell you what's going on. I'm glad it's helping. It is for Friday. Well, technically, depending on where you are in the world, it's Perth WA time, but you can look on the website and it tells you what time it is here, Perth WA, at the moment. Yeah, it is, because there are the plates moving, earthquakes. Okay, so with an eclipse, 2 weeks either side, you get more seismic activity, you get more weather patterns. With the core moving, yes, it's moving plates. Also with temperatures rising and dropping, same thing again. So in general, it is very normal. Earth is always changing. Plates are always moving. I have visually seen from a psychic perspective very, very old volcanoes actually erupting, not the ones that have been most active. So especially in New Zealand, some of the old ones I'm seeing active. I think about 2 years ago, I had a vision of a. Anyway, I don't want to go into scare factors, but it's whatever is occurring, it's bringing people together. The shift is, and also from a vibration level, with dis-ease, we talk in spirituality terms. If you're tapping into it and you're tuning into it, it's like the laws of attraction. You've got to keep your vibration high. And it's impossible for us to do that all the time, but it's if you fixate on things, you actually directly manifest them. So you've got to keep yourself very present in this one moment. And, you know, it's not to discount the fact that it's actually happening or to get it to a place that you aren't having that heart chakra activation and compassion for other people, but to actually be present in your own life like this is your own little world. You've got to have that for sanity. It does, but you also need to create that space energetically to keep sane too. I mean, here and there, I watch Ellen. You're listening to different people. It shakes it up a bit, and you've got to look at those positive stories. I mean, the one thing it's really shown is how, maybe the way we, I mean, I would not want to run for presidency. As much as we can criticize, I mean, just imagine being in that predicament. Something at left field coming at a very sharp ratio without warning. It's a bit similar to when we're having retrogrades. It's like, oh gosh, what's going to happen to us? It's a huge burden and responsibility. So, we all individually are doing the best we can. You also need to be very disconcerting about what you do listen to, because it can fixate and affect your vibration as well. Yeah. If I did wake up, could I? Yeah, just inbox me, Dal. It's going to be pre-recorded anyway, so it's all called by ticket. And then, if you have missed it, the recording will still be there. It asks you the questions in it when you purchase it, and it goes through the whole process. It's all covered, and you get an email. It's a bit similar to the bookings that, you book through me. Basically, as soon as you purchased it, you'll get a notification of purchase for any psychic bookings you book through me. And then the day of the booking, you'll get another notification which will actually, update you that the booking's due. Yeah, sleeping has been interesting lately too. No, we're not going crazy. The gods might be, though. Who knows? What about her? So, any questions before I log off? What do you want to know about the May astrology? Oh gosh, where would we start? Nodes are shifting. We're going to be cycling out the other ones, which is Cancer Capricorn. We're then going to move into the energy. So it's almost like you got 4 nodal energies. Even though theoretically we're moving into Gemini and Sagittarius, we're still going to be finalizing the other energies of Cancer Capricorn. We'll also have Venus retrograde, Pluto retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, Juno going direct, Saturn still retrograde. So it's like, and then we've got to look at the squaring aspects, the trining, and I've got to look at that further. And I'm starting to do a blog each month, which I'm going to attempt to do again this month. And I do actually share it on the website first. And I try and simplify. I'm trying my best to keep it as simple as possible to give you direct examples of how it will relate and what we need to look at and what the themes will be. But I do feel for many of us, this is where we take on, and it's going to be for 2.5 years. So the themes and the shadow energy work that we'll be doing is going to be to do with growth. Again, we have, the funny thing is we're going to have the node in Sagittarius, which links to Jupiter. But at the same time, Jupiter happens to be in Capricorn. So how to let go and trust this process. You would want to know that if a person was going to be with you, it would be because they choose to, because you know your worth. And I guess where I got to, it was like I got to a very peaceful place that if that person was happy, I was happy for them. Because I didn't want any more ifs and buts and BS. And I was just, and I talked to a lady I had tonight, and I said to her, the funny thing is, at one point with my ascension process, I was alone and it would have been 11 months. A lot of hermit mode and a lot of ascension symptoms. And one day I called my mum and I said to her, oh my gosh, I'm going to die being a cat lady. The cat's going to eat me and I'll be here all by myself. And I remember talking to Giggle about this and Jen and Luciana, and I was crying and laughing about it. And then something dawned on me. It was like, okay, If that's so, because my daughter had moved out as well. And then I sat there and I thought to myself, okay, if this is what's going to happen, if I was in a relationship, the person could, something could happen to that person, something could happen to me. I could live a very happy life. I could be in a connection, or I could be with my TF. 101 things could happen. But the one thing that I needed to make sure of is no matter what I was doing, I was going to have the best life I possibly could. Because I no longer was willing to waste my life. Because I was standing in my way. So I started working on that, and the rest followed. The rest flowed. So nothing really could be taken from me then, because I was actually making myself happy. Probably for the first time. I was the priority. Yeah. Yes, I will be doing another update tomorrow. So yeah, it's food for thought, and you naturally reach these processes. So it's nothing, doesn't happen right away. It's a process. But you do also look back, and I mean, in my journey, it was any time I was focusing on myself and moving forward, it wasn't necessarily even with a partner, it was more so just in general. Communication would come in. And when you do reach a certain point, it's almost like you vibrationally know that you're not normal. So you don't tend to relate to certain individuals anymore because you can sense they need to work on themselves and it just won't work. So you just become very happy with yourself. Yeah. So you do become incredibly grateful through the whole process, by the time you're moving through that. But you're more willing to, after the fact of doing that work, that if something doesn't feel right for you, you will speak your truth. And you can't change their opinion, but you have your own. So you're more in your dual energy where you say, okay, well, you're not angry at the person maybe for having a belief system or a feeling or a need, that's fine, but not always, and this is a reality. Will it directly relate to you or you relate to them? Because we are two individual people that do have our own, we're very, very similar. I mean, now in union, we notice so many synchronicities in a sense of we're very alike. Yeah, and it's inevitable. I mean, this work happens because your body's needing it to. So it's not we're seeking it. It actually comes up inside us. It belongs to us. Anyway, just pay attention. If you get triggered tomorrow, I've warned you because I've already told you, there's going to be spikes in the Schumann resonance. You may get triggered. Try and keep grounded. Tomorrow, I'm going to do the updates for although we're already in shadow of Venus, be mindful of that. Don't be cutting your hair and doing some radical outfit change. Similar to Mercury retrograde, practice discernment. Your energies and your needs, wants, and desires are going to change. So it's like you're going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you're having conflicts and you're in a partnership, communicate. Communication is going to be the key. Find that correct way and work through it. There's going to be lessons through it. Well, keep going. Trust me, it was coming up for me, and I was like, yeah, we're near the shadow energy of Venus retrograde. Only happens every 18 months, but this will link back. So think back to what you were doing around 2004 all the way to and 2012. And I'll get the right dates, but I'm seeing energies around that time because something's coming up and you're going to see how far you've come, which is kind of a good thing. But we'll talk about all of that tomorrow night in America time, which will be tomorrow morning. Preferably before my beautiful daughter wakes up and tells me she's bored because she's not liking lockdown process. And I have to mentally entertain her somehow to keep her sane. Love and light, guys. Take care and keep your energy right, okay? Because, yeah, there's going to be spikes and jumps. Hold on for the ride. See you tomorrow.